How's it going, guys? LTjohnsen here, and I'm here today with Rjackiley Games today.
Hello.
That was that was not necessary, but yeah. So today what we're gonna do is not our usual thing. So we're not gonna be playing any games or anything. But what we're gonna do instead is we are going to be discussing something. So what this is like is you could call it a podcast or something like that. So, and as for today's topic, I'm going to be discussing with Rjackiley about the first season of Sword Art Online. Now, first of all, I'm going to put a disclaimer right here and right now, because I know a lot of people on the internet are butthurt when people talk shit about this anime.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to put a disclaimer right here that this is strictly our opinion on Sword Art Online, and not anyone else's, alright? This is strictly ours, so don't get butthurt. This is what we think. We are not trying to force this idea on you. We are not trying to force our opinion on you. It is just what we think. Um, Everything said in this video are our thoughts and have nothing to do with your opinion. This is our opinion strictly, again. You can like or dislike Sword Art Online, and that's okay. We're not professional analyzers of the anime, or critics at that, to be honest. And we're not reviewers or anything like that. This is just what we thought about the anime, the
Yeah.
first season, alright?
There you go.
So now
And
with
also,
that,
it's going to be a heavy spoiler alert for season one.
for anyone who hasn't watched season one, big spoiler alerts. Just be careful. So if you haven't watched it or you haven't finished the series, I suggest you stop the video here, finish it, then come back to this video.
Yeah, you
Otherwise,
just
yeah,
have it open for like however
yeah,
many hours it takes you to finish the first season.
yeah. Yeah, so there's going to be a lot to discuss, so let's get straight into it, right? So, first of all, um, so Sword Art Online was made by the studio A1 Pictures here, right?
Yeah,
So,
I think that's right.
let me just have a look here.
Yep.
So, yeah, A1 Pictures, so that was from A1 Pictures, and A1 Pictures themselves have done a lot of good works, from what I can see. And I love some of their other works, such as Gate. And there's not many I can think of because I don't actually look at studios when I watch anime. But I know they made Gate. I know they made Gate, and I absolutely loved it. But
Hooray.
that's not on the we're going to talk about this today. So what we're going to talk about today first is we're going to have a discuss through the stories about the pros and cons of it, and then we're going to have to talk about the characters and then the setting and anything that we might add in between. Um,
Sounds good.
so basically, Sword Art Online it was adapted from a light novel. Now, I can't talk about the light novel a lot, so because I actually haven't read it. I haven't actually read the light novel, so I can't really talk about it. So, yeah. Um, so is there anything else you'd like to say before we get moving on to the story here?
Um, yeah, just a general thing that this is pretty much going to only be the first season that we're talking about. Is just I haven't seen the second season because
Yeah.
well, the first season was on Netflix, and I was like, oh, that's sick, and I just watched it, and then went, oh, I have to now download the second
Yeah.
season.
I've already finished both seasons here, so
Yeah.
yeah. So I already know what was happening, but yeah. All right. So what I've done is I've given it a score of 8 on my anime list, or MAL as some people call it. Um, and this is what I thought about, and this is why I gave it the score. Right? So first, the story. The synopsis of it is basically like this guy he puts on like a virtual reality kit, yeah,
Yeah.
and
There's this brand new game coming out
yeah,
called Sword Art Online, and
yeah, and they
it's
go
all a
into
VR experience.
yeah, and so they go into this world, and what happens is in this world, like the guy who created the game has locked them inside the game world, and they can't leave. They can't take the VR set off, or it'll kill them. And if they die in the game, they die in real life.
Hmm.
So that's the whole synopsis of it, and the story from there. From there, it had a really good like footing. Like it was really good footing that it could have launched the story from and kept going from there. Right?
Yeah, I was as soon as I saw like the first
Yeah,
episode of this, I was like,
yeah,
oh my god, this is
yeah,
amazing. Like
I
this
read the
is
synopsis and I was like, it's amazing. So it's in the year 2022. Virtual reality has progressed by leaps and bounds and massive online role-playing game. I'm reading this off Mouse, so if anyone knows, called Sword Art Online launched. With the aid of a nerve gear technology, players can control their avatars with game using nothing but their own thoughts. Okay, so we've got that's the main synopsis. Now the story here. Actually, we should talk about the characters first, shouldn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, let's go through
Yeah,
that. So we
yeah. Let's
got,
go through the
of
characters
course,
first.
our main protagonist, who is Kazuto Kirigaya, or nicknamed.
That's what he's called in the game, I think, Kazuto.
No,
Uh,
no, no. He's called Kirito in the game. That's
Kirito,
his
yeah.
like nickname, but his actual name is
Yeah.
Kazuto Kirigaya.
So in real life, he's called Kirigaya Kazuto. Yeah,
Oh yeah, it'd be the other way around.
yeah, because it's Japanese. Anyways, so basically, he's the main protagonist. Like the story revolves around him being in that world, and he's got some pretty strong development here. Like it starts off with him seeing as a guy that just plays games that like as gamers here we kind of connect with that. And
Yeah,
yeah, so um, he's got most of the spotlight. Pretty much nothing wrong with that. In some ways, his characters was a little cliche with the thought detached, with the you could say detached main protagonist and that soft side on the inside. That's a bit cliched if you ask me. But other than that, it was carried out pretty well. His character develops among the story, being called the beta of a beta tester because he was able to beta test the game,
yeah,
and a
yeah.
lot of people didn't like the beta testers in the game because they knew about the game and they didn't tell the other players about it, and so a lot of people died from that.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah,
it's really kind of bizarre because they
yeah,
were like, "Oh, you didn't tell us anything," and then it turns out like
yeah,
a bunch of them had made a book that was like
yeah, and
the
it turns
simple
out,
guides, and it was like, "What?"
yeah, and no one ever bothered to read
And it was
it.
like, "But we did, like they did."
Yeah,
But then pretty much, yeah. So he goes on from that. He becomes this beta tester, and he comes out and says that. But then he also sort of adds onto it and says, pretty much just says like, "Oh yeah, I'm a dickhead, and
yeah,
I'm like way better than
yeah.
you." So they
He
call
comes out.
him, what is it? They call him a beta.
Yeah, they call him a beta. They call
That's
him, yeah, and like, if you ask me, the reason he probably did that was because to make sure that he didn't become attached to anyone, or no one became attached to him. Because if something did go wrong, it would cause a lot of problems emotionally.
Yeah, and he didn't. So he didn't join a guild or anything like that, which was the main consensus that most of the people should have done in the game. Because,
Yeah,
of course, you die in the game, you die in real
yeah,
life. So people want to stay in groups, stay
yeah.
protected, that sort
But
of stuff.
but he didn't want to become like that. He didn't want to cause any emotional pain from someone. That's what I reckon why he stayed out of those guilds and all
Yeah, probably something like that.
that.
But
Because
there was also an interesting thing that I wanted to bring up was the fact of how they went through his actual development as a character, or like
yeah,
sort of his leveling up through the thing
yeah,
is because the first season takes place over a few years. It's like
yeah,
3 or 5 years,
2 years.
something
I
like
think it
that.
was 2 years. I think it was 2 years.
Oh yeah, no, it's 2 years. It's
Yeah,
not three. But they don't. It's not just like they tell you like his day by day. It's just randomly like the next episode. You wouldn't like it. Sort of jumps a few months, and he's got major power increases and all this
yeah,
stuff. You don't have to see
yeah,
all the what is it, remedial stuff, that sort of stuff. It's just
yeah.
all the like greatest moments and that sort of stuff. So it's really
And
cool how they did that.
yeah, and like the way they developed his character by making you feel sorry for him was that at one point in the story he actually did join a guild, but he lied about his level status and that got them killed. Got his whole guild killed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It was,
remember that? Like,
yeah, 'cause
yeah,
he lies about his level. He's like
yeah,
much higher. I can't remember
yeah.
what he says.
And that's when he becomes attached about the whole guild thing, when he doesn't want to join a guild and all that, because it's
Yeah,
because he
because it's
lied
this
about his level and he got his guild members killed.
yeah, it's this small group of just I think it's like 6 people, something like that, and then they go into a dungeon that is
Yeah,
too high a level for them, and then they get in this room and they get trapped, and he can't save them, but he can easily save himself. So it's
yeah,
just that's sort of he feels
yeah.
like he's like, oh,
He feels like
sorry.
he's responsible for the deaths.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and that to be honest, that kind of made me feel a bit sad. Like it kind of made me want to cry while I was watching it. So yeah,
yeah. It was it was pretty like
yeah,
no.
it was pretty sad. All right, so now on to the next character. So we've got Kirito here,
Yeah.
and his little sister, which is called Lifa.
Oh,
Now,
that's we'll go into
yeah,
her.
or her game name that is, and then her full name is Kirigaya Sugaha.
Yeah,
And
and so they are well we said they are brother and sister, but actually they're not. They're
yeah,
they're cousins, I believe.
yeah,
Is
and
what
that
it is.
that was an interesting development.
Yeah, but
But what?
they're not raised as cousins. They were raised believing that they were brother and sister, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
Kirito learns that just before, like not too long before he goes into the game, and then like
I
during
think
that
no,
time
I think
when
he
he's
I think he knew about it since he was 10, if I'm correct.
oh, that's right, yeah,
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 I
he's
think
known
he
about
knew.
it for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
And they don't tell his little sister
yeah,
until I think she's been until I think Kirito's been in the game for a while, and then they're sort of trying to they're like visiting him in the hospital, and I think
Yeah. Yeah.
her mum tells her and
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah. The thing is with Kirigai Sugaha is I don't like what they've done with her character by introducing her like they show you her like her character in like the first 10 seconds of the first episode, and then you don't see her again until like the 18th episode or something.
Yeah, it's really it's like
Yeah.
oh yeah, more character. Where did you go? Like
Yeah, where did you go? What happened to this?
yeah.
And so, like, I never thought I'd see her again after the first 3 seconds of her screen time in episode one.
Yeah.
And, and in a way, like she's probably my favorite character, even though in my opinion, according to where I thought the story was going at first, she was never supposed to be a character.
Yeah. She's really she gets she gets a
Yeah.
much bigger role down
Yeah, down the
later
road,
into
yeah.
that season. So
Yeah, and her development as a character is heavily developed, like when she shows up in the second half of the season.
yeah,
And it's interesting how A1 Pictures develops her relationship with Kirito to a point where it got a little overdone with the whole non-blood related sister like
yeah,
incest thing. Like that was just
Oh.
like that was like I could think of like 100 different anime titles. I'm being exaggerating here, not 100, but like I could think of a lot of titles here
yeah.
that use that same excuse.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I loaded up A1 Pictures and all the series that they've worked on, and Jesus Christ, they've
Yeah.
worked on a lot.
They've done a lot. I'm telling you, they've done a lot.
Yeah,
They've done-
just some of the ones that I can see that I recognize. They do Fairy Tale, they do Blue Exorcist.
I absolutely love the works that A1 Pictures done. It's one of my favorite studios. They've done.
Yeah, they have a lot of fucking things.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll go back. We'll get back on topic.
So A1 Pictures did a little like weird development there, and it was eventually put to an end near the end of the second season, like because like Kirito basically shoots her down in like the softest way possible. There's a bit
Yeah.
of heartbreak there. There's a bit of heartbreak. Like I was watching that episode and I was like, oh no. It's like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry.
Yeah.
And overall, her character was interesting to see develop, especially when her and Kirito went to our fame without the knowledge of each other's identity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that was
for
really
anyone
interesting.
who's watching and who hasn't seen the first season, first off, you're absolutely insane. But
Yeah.
pretty much what happens is they are in Sword Art Online, but then unfortunately, and then it gets shut down. They basically
Yeah.
beat the game in a sense, and
And we'll come
then
back to
another
that.
one starts up, another virtual reality game that they have to explore. As another one of the main characters gets trapped in it, and so Kirito has to go back into that, and that's where
Yeah.
we get introduced back to Kirigaya Shuga as
Sugaha.
Sugaha. That's it. Yeah, I knew I wasn't pronouncing it right. That's
Yeah.
where we get introduced to her a little bit more. She joins this this virtual reality game as well, and then
Yeah.
develop her.
We'll talk about a bit more about that when we talk about the story, because that's one of the main things I want to talk about the story.
Yeah.
Right, so another important character that we know in the series, like this series would not have worked without this character, which
Yes.
is Yuki Asuna.
Yes, Asuna as she is definitely probably my favorite character out of everyone.
Yeah.
And because she's the reason she's such a main character is because she ends up getting into a relationship with Kirito, and what I love about what they did with this is they didn't draw it out, because a lot of shows that I watch like a few animes, but most of the stuff that I watch is a lot of like Western things, so like shows like Arrow or Castle and all these
Yeah.
other shows. But with this, it took them like within, I think it was like the 10th or the 12th episode, they were in a relationship, and it was like, yes,
Yeah,
this is perfect.
that was
Like
quick.
like you could see from the very beginning, it was like that
Yeah, like a lot
classic
of
thing. It's like, oh, they are meant to be in a relationship. That'll happen eventually. Not eventually. It's like almost straight away. It's like,
yeah.
this is amazing.
And what was the most annoying thing about is that most anime series tend to drag that out, where the guy actually never chooses or does
Yeah,
anything about
yeah,
it, and
it's
like the whole thing's just dragged out, and you're like, what a waste of opportunity.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
really annoying. But this one was, I was so happy when I saw that. I was like,
Yeah.
This is like, is this like a dream
Like-
sequence? Like,
like,
this
without
isn't normal.
her-
I was like,
without
yes.
her, without Yuki Asuna, like the whole romance genre of this would not have worked out as good. Like
Yeah.
her character is what allowed the romance genre of this to develop.
Yeah,
And
it's,
basically, one thing I dislike is how they developed her relationship with Kirito. Was like, yeah, like I like how like it worked. Like they were together. But like,
Yeah.
what I didn't like is like it just happened way too quick.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see how you. Yeah, how
yeah,
that. I
like
can see
it
it
was
was
in a
just.
span of a few episodes. Few episodes. Like you see her in the first episode, and then you don't see her again until like the sixth episode, and then it develops within like two episodes the relationship.
Yeah, because that's the annoying part about some of those things I talked about earlier when it was pretty much the story just jumps like months and months
Yeah,
because the fact that it takes a span of 2 years um is that they have to just skip over a bunch of the boring stuff, but some of the times they skip over some things that we do want to see, like the development of their relationship. So it's yeah, it's a bit annoying, but
yeah,
yeah,
and like because of that, it was too quickly. It was done too quickly to be fully taken by the impact of the what they managed to compensate for that by making of a somewhat of a connection to me, the viewer, on the emotional level of the couple's
yeah,
relationship. So like there was a relationship, but you weren't attached to that relationship because it just snapped. Next thing you know, there was a relationship between them.
yeah,
But
yeah,
like again, another important factor of that is that the relationship like wouldn't have developed the way it did because when there was a relationship, they actually instead of by for compensating for the lack of the sudden development of a relationship, they actually developed the relationship within the relationship. Two characters develop within the relationship there.
oh right, yeah, no,
Yeah,
I see what you mean. It's kind of
yeah, and
confusing,
if
but
it,
yeah.
yeah, and so if you ask me, that could not have been done with the character Yui. Like,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
there was no
So
way those two would have bonded like that without that character there.
yeah, because so pretty much what happens is I can't remember exactly what happens, but with they end up finding this. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're living in a little forest, sort of a little house that they bought just to pretty much get away from all the fighting. They just wanted to live out their lives, and they find this small girl in a forest, and they're
Yeah,
like, "What is this?" And so
yeah,
then pretty much they adopt her as their
child,
child,
and yeah, they
and
live like a family, and that created that compensated for the lack of emotional impact when the relationship happened. So like that made you attach to them a bit, like
yeah,
attach to
because
the
it's
whole
like they were
family a bit.
pretty
Yeah,
much already a family.
yeah,
And it's really cute because one of
it was,
the first moment you sort of realize that's what they're going for is
yeah,
when they first find this girl there and um they pretty much tell her you can call us whatever you want. And so she calls them mummy and daddy, and it's
yeah,
like, oh, that's so cute.
yeah. It was pretty cute. Like yeah, and so
um,
I was attached to Yui, but like and then when her character like disappeared like in the final few episodes, I was like, she better
yeah,
not be dead. I was like,
yeah,
she better not be dead.
they did do a lot to sort of say no, she's not dead. Like they had the pretty much she I can't remember exactly what happened, but she disappeared. But they ended up with some sort of item, right? It was like some sort of crystal that like
Yeah, that
contained
had
her
that.
within it.
Yeah, that contained her software within it.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, because of the fact that she isn't actually a person in the game. She's actually sort of like an admin or like a yeah, an
yeah,
artificial intelligence
like
built into the game to do all this.
oh yeah, if I was correct, she's an artificial intelligence that was designed to monitor the emotional state of the players in the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, there you go. And that's why she was drawn to Kirito and Azuna as
yeah.
they
Because what
had this
happened
massive.
was, because what happened
Um,
was she lost her memories. If I'm correct, like something went wrong with her software.
yeah, I think that was it. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, actually, I think it was because Kirito and Asuna, their relationship is what caused her software to fail. Because she was monitoring all the bad emotions coming from them, and then you had Kirito and Asuna who had good emotions because they were in a relationship and they were happy and all that. And
yeah, she
that's
is.
what.
So I'm just looking up on the Wikia here,
Yeah,
and she is her actual name is Yui MHCP001, and she
yeah,
is the Mental Health Counseling Program 001.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just looking at that, and I thought that was
yeah.
interesting.
All right, so yeah, so that's about with that. Yui though, I reckon she was an important supporting character. Like without her, the story would be the way it was. That's
Yeah.
another thing what I've liked that I say what we're gonna do is we're just gonna clump all the supporting characters together because there's just too many to go through. There's
Yes,
too many
it was a
supporting
lot.
characters. Yeah, there was a lot. So now with all the side characters, the whole what SAO has done here is that they've done it in a good way because what they've done is instead of using the characters once and then dumping them.
Yeah,
They
they
keep
actually
coming back. They keep coming
coming
back
back,
through the
which
series.
is really good. Like
Yeah,
I remember there's a character who's a blacksmith who like
yeah,
he keeps coming back even
yeah. He keeps coming
after the
back.
game is over. Like you see him in real
Yeah,
life, like they've
yeah,
actually gotten together and,
yeah,
and like
yeah.
become
Like,
actual friends. It's really awesome.
yeah, because what most anime usually do is they bring in like a side character for like 2 episodes and then dump him and you never see him again.
Yeah,
And this is one thing what I've done is like because SAO, do you know how like they show up, a character shows up and you don't see him again to the third episode or like the seventh episode. Like that's
yeah.
with the main characters that doesn't work very good, but with the supporting characters that works pretty good because they keep coming back and you don't forget about them, and therefore there's a presence of them in the story, and it doesn't screw the story over.
Yeah, because there will be a few. There's a lot of things that'll just basically bring in all these supporting characters. They'll disappear, and you'll never see them again until like the very last episode of
Yeah,
like a season or something when they bring
yeah,
all of the supporting characters. And it's like, who the fuck are you? Oh wait, you were from that like tiny episode where you had like 5 seconds worth of screen time.
yeah,
But this one worked really well just because of the fact that they had that at the end where like everyone groups together and you know everyone exactly who they are because they've
yeah,
kept on coming up.
yeah,
Even some of the bad guys. The bad guy,
yeah,
which is the guy with the shield. I forget what he's called. I'll
yeah.
look him up now.
Like another thing is that like so overall with the character development here they've done is they've were able to build an attachment viewer to the characters because when I was watching like I didn't want the characters to die. Like I was like, don't die on me.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And what I also found was was really interesting that I have to talk about the story for at some point, and I have to
yeah,
talk about this part is early on in the season they get a stone. There's a Christmas event, and they get a stone that is a resurrection stone, and it
yeah,
basically allows you to resurrect someone. I think as long as they have only been dead for about 10 seconds or
yeah.
something like that, and
Oh yeah, that's right. Like
and they
cause
never
what
use it.
because what happened was Kirito wanted to save one of the guild members that got killed in his previous guild, and so he tried
Yeah.
to get that resurrection stone. Then when he gets here, he realized he has to revive the player within 10 seconds.
Yeah,
And
and
that was just a
I don't know
shock
if they
to
used
me.
that in the second season, but in the first season, it's just never used, even though some
Uh,
major
uh,
things happen to the character.
I'll tell you now, it's never used.
Okay, all right, yeah,
Yeah, it's never talked about again. Like, come on.
yeah, yeah,
And like,
it's pretty annoying, but
yeah.
but you know, it's kind
Right.
of fine, I guess.
So now I think what we can do is we can move on to the story and we'll start discussing that a bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, little. All right, so
So firstly is the story. What? Right. So we'll talk about the good stuff before I start ranting about the bad stuff. 'Cause there's
yep,
something that really annoyed me about this whole series, and that I wanted
yeah,
to throw my computer out the window.
yeah. All right, so keep with the goods, William. Keep with the
Yeah.
goods.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So
All right.
what happened is, right. So use of a concept that seemed in other anime such as Log Horizon and from 2014 and Overlord in 2015, like the whole being locked in well, not being locked, but like, well, yeah, being stuck in a virtual game reality, like in virtual reality. That whole
Yeah,
concept is a great concept, and it's not used a lot, so it's not cliched and it's not like overdone.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
and they did it in a really awesome way. Just with the whole game that they were in was just it was awesome. Like
yeah,
I wanted to learn more about that game,
yeah,
and like especially I wanted to see there were the special abilities that only certain people were able to gain access to. So Kirito is of course one of them, and he's able to get this dual wielding ability, which basically allows him to use two one-handed swords at a time. And everyone's really confused before he uses this because of the fact that he's only ever using just one-handed sword, and so everyone's really confused because normally you would pair that up with a shield to keep your defense up.
yeah,
But he doesn't use that. And there was also one that was pretty much just a front for him hacking the game, where the main bad guy had a thing that was called Divine Shield, which pretty much allowed his defense to go pretty much just through the roof and like have no like you could barely hit him. But that was pretty much just because he was just hacking the game
yeah,
because he was he was the creator of the game, just
Yeah,
keeping an eye on everything.
yeah. So that was the whole thing. Now, the concept is a cool idea and all that, and had a lot of potential for a good anime, and it did do that in a good way. We'll get to how they ruined it later, but the concept in which the characters are stuck in a virtual, yeah. So I'm just reading off my notes here. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So if they died in real life, that was a really interesting concept. Where if they died in the game, they would die in real life because that added the sort of fear to the game. Where you
Mm.
so therefore like your attachment would actually work on the characters because if it was a virtual reality, right, and they died in the virtual reality and there wasn't that concept there, then you wouldn't fear for the character. Like you
Yeah,
wouldn't be like,
exactly.
oh shit, he's dead. You'd be just like, oh, it's a game, he'll come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, but
But this, like, there's an actual fear of death for the character, and
yeah, that doesn't happen.
yeah, and it's and it was an interesting way to keep the strong part of this anime going in its direction to reach the top floor to put an end to the game. So there was a sort of motive to push the story.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
was. They did it really well
yeah,
in that sense.
yeah, in that sense. And they again, we'll talk about this again, is that they did a good job in the genre of romance, where they created a type of love story within the chaotic world that they're in. So like the two characters were able to find some sort of peace in the like a world full of just panic.
Yeah, as because they end up moving down to I forget which floor it is, but it's like basically
Well,
this forest floor where
it
there's
was the
a
22nd
house.
floor, if I'm correct, because they met Yui on the 22nd floor, and that's where.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds about right. But yeah, so they moved to this little cabin in the woods, and not the creepy kind where there's a bunch of monsters, but just this really just this really peaceful place, and they were able to spend their times there, and that was really cool.
yeah. So yeah, so I think and overall, like the whole how they did it, like it was just good, like because everything fell into place. It was like a puzzle that was working. It was just falling into place, falling into place, falling into place, and fitting and fitting and fitting. And overall,
Yeah.
and like the concept and the first season, it was overall pretty good, just in general. And so moving on to the cons here.
Oh God.
Oh god, there was so many things wrong with this anime. But the reason that I gave it an 8 was because there was also a lot of good points.
Yeah.
So it compensated for a lot of the bad points. But okay, so one thing I definitely need to mention first is it was terribly paced. It was just so terribly paced. First it was jumping 1 month, then it was jumping half a year, and then it was jumping 2 weeks. Like
Yeah, that's the
what?
thing we were
Like
talking about before. It
yeah,
was jumping all these points. It was a bit annoying because you'd end up in this point, and
yeah.
and then
Like
you'd be like, well, what's changed? What happened in all this
like
time? Like,
and this will. I'll mention this again when we get to another point because it was paced too quickly for its own good. Like it was finished halfway through the second season. Like the whole motif ends. Like the motive for the story just ends halfway through the season, and
yeah,
it's dragged on
halfway through the first
it's
season.
dragged on by a second story, and it's just changing the setting and the motif or motive.
Yeah, well, it's dragged on by Alfheim,
Yeah,
which is
Alfheim, and it also changes Kirito's character a bit. Like
yeah, I did notice that when he
his
gets into that.
character
Gets into that.
developed a lot, and then it changes. Like what?
Yeah, I think that's probably due to the fact that we were talking before. It's really good that they kept it in a world where if you die in the video game, you die in real life. But
Yeah,
then the second half of the first season,
it's completely
it's
ruined.
in just a virtual reality game, so
Yeah,
you don't feel for that anymore.
and
Um,
this is the third point that I want to talk about is it was just why did you change the whole concept, the whole story second halfway through the season? Like
yeah,
why?
it
Because
was
if
like
you
I
ask me,
wanted to see them. I really wanted to see them like battle through all the floors and get to floor 100, which is what they do in the original game, Sword Art Online. It's like this massive tower, and they just have to pretty much battle all these. You have to battle through the floor, and then you make it to the end of the floor. There's a boss, and you move on to the next floor. And I wanted to see that. I wanted to see a massive battle because they always talked about, they're up at the front lines, battling all the monsters and stuff. I wanted to see that. I wanted
yeah,
to see a battlefield where it was just
yeah.
like
So
constant murder of
and
monsters.
it was just again it was also paced terribly. Like the second season, like you got well not the second season, the second half of it. So the first
Yeah,
half it was terribly paced, and then the second half where it's gone to our fame, it's just evenly paced. Like,
Yeah,
you've
exactly.
completely changed the pace of this story, and you've just messed up like every viewer here. And if you ask me, what I felt like they were doing was, instead of dragging on the Sword Art Online story, what they've done is they skipped months and then put like the second half there.
Yeah,
What they could
yeah,
have done is remove the whole Our Fame idea and put that into a second season and drag on the first season and Sword Art Online for a whole 24 episodes rather than just doing for like 16 and then doing the next half there. Our Fame.
yeah. So I would have loved that. That would have been
Yeah.
amazing to watch. It was
Yeah.
so good.
And like around there is when they go back into real life after the whole game ends, like you wonder what's wrong with Asuna. Like she still hasn't come out of the game. You don't know what's going on, and then you realize the whole Our Fame there, and that's where Sugaha starts developing her character. So
Yeah,
even
yeah.
though
So we get that.
I thought I'd never see her again.
Yeah, we get a little bit more development with her and her
And yeah,
relationship. I'm using air quotes, by the way, with her brother.
yeah, and like there was a bit of plot armor that I saw as well, and I didn't like the plot armor in a good way.
Okay.
Because you know what plot armor is? It's when
Yeah,
like
yeah. It's
yeah,
when
yeah.
when your main characters or is it just
Basically,
main characters?
well, it's like when the main protagonist or the characters, the important
Yeah.
characters, are assured that they're not gonna die.
Yes.
And there was a bit of that in there because, like, when Kirito was being stabbed by that evil guy in that canyon, like, I sat there, I saw the health bar go down, and I'm like, he's not gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, Asuna's gonna come out of nowhere and just beat the crap out of him, and next thing you know, she does.
Asuna comes out of nowhere and beats the crap out of him.
Yeah,
It's
and like he gets
also,
protected.
yeah, there was a really annoying thing that I said before. I wanted to see more about this game, more about like this entire game because it seemed awesome. One of the things I wanted to see was the Laughing Coffin Guild because that was like
Oh yeah,
one of the sort of antagonists in that
yeah,
season,
yeah.
and it was like they kept popping up, which is sort of what they do in this thing we were talking about before. Sub characters sort of pop up over, they keep popping up, but they were never like you never saw like a raid on their guild hall or something. I wanted that. I wanted them to like completely destroy the Laughing Coffin Guild. That would be cool.
I'll let you know is that actually gets explained in the second season.
God,
They actually show you some of that in the second season.
all right. Well,
It develops on that a bit. So sorry.
then
For
we have to
ruining
wait
that.
for the second season. But
Second
yeah,
season's already out, but
yeah, but I haven't seen it because I'm a
yeah,
pleb.
yeah, yeah. I suggest you
But I got
watch it.
too much to watch. I'm watching
Yeah.
Fairy Tale and Index and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. So we'll discuss them in another time when you've actually finished watching it. We'll
Yeah,
do a
yeah.
podcast for that. But back on topic here is so like in episode 10 with the Crimson Blood, I knew she wasn't gonna die. Crimson Bloodthirst, like she was in the he was in the canyon, she was gonna come and save him. It was obvious.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
at the end of the first part of the season, first half of the season, where they all, where Kirito basically sacrifices himself to end the game,
yeah,
I knew they weren't gonna die as well. Like
yeah,
when Asuna jumped in front of that sword, I was like, she's not dead. I was
yeah.
like,
It's kind
I
of
was shocked. I was shocked that happened, and then I was like, she's not dead. He gets
yeah. That's one of the
because what happened was Kirito got stabbed as well. I'm like that, yeah, yeah. The fact that Kirito got stabbed means there was plot armor. Basically, just indicated plot armor. Because I know that Kirito can't die, and so I knew that he was going to see Asuna again, and I knew Asuna wasn't coming back. Although I was a bit confused. I was thinking that maybe Asuna might not be coming back, but I definitely knew that Kirito was coming back.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And it was yeah, it was just definitely sort of just put on there. And one of the things that I mentioned before about that resurrection stone they had,
Yeah.
Asuna dies. He doesn't immediately go to his friend and go, "Give me the stone. Give me the stone." Like,
Yeah, I
fuck you.
know, right?
Like,
And then he just stands there and gets stabbed. I'm like, mate, come on.
you have a way to bring him back.
Yeah.
But
So those were the cons there, and so the biggest con out of them all was the change in setting. That's what I just didn't like. Was the whole
yeah,
change,
I really I
change
was
in
like
arc
they
and everything.
changed it, and that's why I am excited for the second season because of the fact that at the end of the first season they bring back what is it, Aaron Crad, something like that. I can't remember the exact name of it. I know I'm mispronouncing it, but he pretty much brings it into the Alfheim world, and that's why I'm excited for it. But from what I've heard, it's not that great, and I'm like, no, why? But yeah, so hopefully it is a little bit better. But Yeah, I think that's about it for all the cons that we've
Yeah,
got at
that's
least
about it.
written down.
Yeah.
Um,
So basically, to summarize it, like there was a good concept behind the story, and it was executed in a way that which was pretty good. But then the quality was dropped of the anime altogether by the change in setting and
yeah,
the way it
yeah,
was
I
set
felt
up
that.
that it could fit. It felt like it was pacing the story so that it was set up to fit our fame into season one. That's what it felt
Yeah,
like.
yeah, it's like, oh, we have an anime called Sword Art Online. Well, guess what? For half of the first season, we're not going to spend any time in Sword
Yeah,
Art Online. It's like, what?
yeah,
Because the
and
anime is called Sword Art Online, and the
like
game that comes out originally is called Sword Art Online. And
and
you're like,
like
oh,
if you
okay,
think about it, like the whole Sword Art Online arc of the story, or that or the main arc of it,
yeah,
is becomes more of a backstory than
yeah,
anything.
pretty much,
Yeah,
yeah. Because they get introduced to all these
yeah,
because it's pretty much they've got all these sort of side characters in
and
Sword Art Online, but
it,
that's like your main sort of troop of characters, and
yeah,
then you get Alfheim and all these other characters come along, and it's sort of like a bit of Sword Art Online where it's like Kirito's sort of being a bit distant and is doing all these actions that don't really make sense, but like they make sense to you because of the fact well, in the Sword Art Online section they don't, like, you don't really, it doesn't really make sense because they go back eventually and tell you about the guild that he lost and all that sort of stuff. um but then that sort of happens in the second half with what is it, Alfheim. But you know his reasons because you've been given this backstory to him. It's
yeah,
like you can, yeah, and so it's just really kind of,
yeah.
it's really interesting.
And like we're not going to discuss the second season, but I'll say this for sure: is that in the second season, Sword Art Online has a real presence of a backstory, and it just doesn't feel like the original. That so, but we'll discuss the second season at a later date.
Yeah,
As for now, I think we could move on to the setting. And
setting. Okay, right.
so originally the setting was a good idea, like the whole Sword Art Online. It was cool setting, like the 100 floors with like the medieval type RPG world. Like that was a pretty cool. Although if you ask me, like when I started watching it, like the setting was pretty good. Like although a little overused by other anime because like the whole medieval like RPG setting is used quite often.
Yeah, yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Uh, so let's have a look. Yeah. So then the major disappointment about the whole setting is which the main motive of the story in the last half like lasted halfway through the season.
yeah,
Yeah, and like that's what
yeah.
we were
That's pretty
discussing
much the
earlier. Yeah.
main,
It's
the
the
main
main
thing. It's just,
disappointment of the whole series.
yeah, it's just the fact that like it just
Yeah.
changes settings and completely changes within the first
And it's never
thing.
like the main setting is never used again until season two, and even and when it is used in season two, it's only like for like a few minutes of screen time, and that's about it.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
it's, yeah. So it's just that sort of was sort of the change in setting, the change to Alfheim instead of staying in Sword Art Online was just like, why no, like continue with the Sword Art Online game. Like it was amazing, it was awesome. I don't care if you have to, break the game and then you go back into it, back to where you were, and
yeah,
use some bullshit to get back to where you were. It's just like, just do it. Like
yeah,
it would
yeah.
be
Like
so much better.
yeah, it would
Um,
have been much better, but like what I assume, like this is what I assume that would have ruined the anime for most people. Like it was suddenly changed. It was too quick as well. Like you had a span about 2 episodes, and the whole thing was changed.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's sort of what happened. Yeah, I can see how. Yeah, I can see what you're talking about because it's just like, oh yeah, now it's just like, all right, so they're gonna fight this big boss. All right, and now they're in a new place. What?
yeah,
It
yeah.
happened very quickly. It
Like
goes back to the
it
sort of pacing
basic.
issue we
What
were
it
talking
no,
about.
what it did was it crushed the story. It basically crushed the original story, threw it in the trash, and basically just like what I'm not gonna say it like this way, but they basically just shat out a new story.
Yeah, yeah, I can see.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah, it's,
and like
yeah, it's pretty disappointing.
the whole idea of them dying in a virtual world was lost. It was just lost in the
Yeah, because
second setting.
we mentioned this
Yeah,
earlier because the fact that they're not in a virtual world where you will die. It's just
yeah,
like, oh yeah, they're just in a virtual world. There's a little bit of sort of stuff like fighting against the clock sort of thing. I don't really know what to call it, but it's pretty much the fact that um there's the whole thing that's going on in real life in this anime where it's where Azuna's getting married, but not actually getting married. Like it's
Yeah,
not her choice.
like it's not a
That whole
choice.
thing. Basically, there's some evil bastard,
Yeah.
and he's pretty much the what is he? He runs the servers for Alfheim,
For
and
Alpha,
he's
yeah.
and he got a bunch of the Sword Art Online characters and kept them
And it's
in.
basically experimenting with them. That's what
Yeah,
he's basically doing.
is trying to read their neural sort of mapping and all that sort of stuff
Yeah.
to see if he can like manipulate people's emotions, and so that's sort of the big sort of arc for that second part is sort of trying to save Azuna from this thing.
Yeah.
And
what I would like they've done is explain what was going on in the real world while everyone was stuck in Sword Art Online.
yeah,
That would've been a good
it's
thing to
really
do.
because they it's sort of interesting how they do it because they have, I think there's barely any explained about it. Pretty much what it is just like, oh yeah, they were all taken to hospitals and they were like fed through tubes so they didn't die. It's pretty much it. You see a tiny bit of it when
We've just had a bit of technical difficulties and we've restarted the podcast, so we'll take a few steps back and we'll continue from there on because I don't know when it actually stopped recording my audio. Alright, so
yes, the video stopped, but
right. Anyway, so let's get back to it. So because the viewers are still listening to this.
yeah,
So basically, like what they could have done is they could have explained a bit more on what's happening in real life. That's what we were talking about before. What happened in real life while everyone was stuck in Sword Art Online, and like I feel like I would have liked to known what was happening, like what was going on in the world, because they implied that there was a lot of chaos during that time in the real world.
Yeah, I can understand a little bit. Like this might be the reasoning behind why they didn't show what was going on is the fact that the people that we were following didn't know. Like the people in the game, they have. I think near the beginning, they have a conversation. Like someone's having a conversation about. I wonder what our families are doing. I wonder if they're taking us to hospitals and doing all this stuff. And so I think that might have been the reason why they didn't show that outside world because of the fact that it was just like, oh yeah, you're meant to be following these characters. They don't know what's going on, so neither should you.
And that's one thing I didn't like was the hospitals because it was explained that that if they were disconnected from the power, it would kill them.
Yeah.
How did they move them from the power source without killing them? I'm like, how did they move them from their homes to a hospital without cutting the power or the connection
just get a few batteries?
Yeah, but like it was still had to be connected to a computer. It still had to be connected to the internet and everything. Like you're like, what?
Yeah,
like, I wanted that explained to me. Is how on earth did they get them to a hospital without killing them?
Pretty bizarre. But yeah, I have no idea. But just magic. It's the year 2022? Yeah.
Yeah, 2022.
That's it.
And yes, that's about all we have on our notes, but is there anything else we could discuss, do you think?
No, I don't. I mean, about the first season, I don't really think so. I think that's about it. That we've pretty much covered it all.
Yeah, we pretty much. One thing I know is that one of my friends have told me that some people like the anime because of its art style. If you ask me, I kind of thought the art style was a little generic.
Okay.
It's used by like the style of art. Like it's not like you can't differentiate it from other anime. It's not like No Game No Life where the art style was different in terms of color they used. They used different colors, like because everything had like a purple hue to it in No Game No Life.
Yeah.
And it's not like those arty type animes. What arty type animes do I know? Let me go onto my list and have a look here. Yeah, because there's a lot of arty styled anime, and one thing that whoa. Okay, so yeah, alright. Looks like there's a problem with my router. Hold on. So one thing I definitely have to say is that Sword Art Online had a really generic art style. I don't know what my friend was talking about with this like art style. The effects were okay, but like character design and all that, it looked like it was just like your generic anime design.
Yeah.
But with the monsters and all that, that was a little different, and the stages and the way the art style of the setting and all that, the way that was designed wasn't generic, but it's how the characters looked and all that were pretty anime generic.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. It might have been because of the fact that there was just with the fact that they all looked different to what other anime characters may look like because of the fact that they're stuck in this world. But then, like, um, most other anime characters have some sort of reason behind wearing similar sort of things because they're all wearing like armor and that sort of stuff. But then you've got other animes that do similar sort of things. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, I think that's about all we can talk about. Like, there's not much, is there?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Anyways, I think we'll end it here then. So,
All right.
alright, so thank you for listening, everyone out there that is watching this and listening to this. Thank you guys for joining us with this sort of online discussion. If you guys want more, let us know in the comments. And if there's anything we could change, positive feedback, negative feedback, constructive feedback, we welcome all of that. And if you guys like us to review other things, please also let us know in the comments below. We don't just do this for anime, we can do this for games and all that. We'll just discuss anything that we like, and if you guys have any suggestions for games, animes, like, and all that, we could discuss that as well. So, thank you for listening, and hope to see you guys next time.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
LT out.
Bye.